Hi guys. Just got out of a long conversation. Hope you guys are having a good Monday. It's beautiful outside right now. I'm gonna go outside and go for a walk. I haven't. I was tired today. I had a long day yesterday and got some work done this morning. I had to do some work today. I'm not. I don't want to talk about work. Let's talk about the trees. So I got this tree that sits on the border of this property and the next property, and this big tree. It's like a cross between an elm tree and a poplar. And for whatever reason, we had more of these trees in back, and I cut some of them out because they were, if they're not growing right and they're not in the right location, they get dead limbs, and they get these big dead limbs that come off of these things. And you got to really stay on them and trim them a lot. But when they get big like this one, those branches get so high. You got to get a bucket truck to get out there and trim this tree. So uh, they shed a lot of dead branches. It's springtime, and so we get huge spring storms here. We live right in between the Cascades and the Rocky Mountains, and so some of the spring storms that come out of the mountains, they form in the mountains, and then they come crashing down here. We've got a low area, so sometimes we get some pretty, not the kind of thunderstorms that you see in the Midwest, but we get some pretty good thunderstorms right here, and not as bad as in Hermiston, about 30 or 40 miles south of here. They get them worse because they get pushed right up against the Blue Mountains, and they get hotter air that comes out of Southern Oregon than we get, and so there's a bigger differential between the cold and warm air in Hermiston that create they every once in a while get a tornado there, which I've worked in Kansas, so in case you don't, I know what the real stuff looks like. You're not going to see anything worse than the thunderstorms that form between Topeka, between Wichita and Topeka, anywhere, right? That place is like a nuclear bomb for spring storms. I encourage any of you to go there. Anytime you go to any town that you go to with between Wichita and Topeka, half of the town you're going to see is probably new. You're going to see buildings that have been rebuilt within the last 15 to 20 years. They get tornadoes that come down all the time and just tear stuff up. The supercells that form there during the day are amazing. And you can see them from a distance. Just these huge. I watched the movie Twisters the other day. Pretty good movie. I didn't think I was gonna like it. The new movie Twisters. It's a remake of the old one, and I actually really liked that one. I thought it was good. Pretty good story. It's always a love story, right? Love is a twisting mess, isn't it? Anyway, this tree that I have, it sits right on the property line. And this property and Rich's property, probably some of the only, I think it's one of the only property lines where we live this close to each other and there's no fence. And you know what? I am so happy that there's no fence. I hate fences. I hate putting walls up. The more that I can break down the walls within myself, the better, right? And the tree doesn't know. What does the tree care? The tree, like all of us, has dead stuff growing on it that we need to trim off and to keep growing, because it'll start growth, right? If you keep pouring energy into dead stuff, then you don't grow. And in order to get nice and big and transmute all that carbon dioxide in the atmosphere into oxygen, you got live branches do that, right? Not dead branches. Dead branches don't transmute. They don't transmute any carbon dioxide or any oxygen, right? Who is learning to transmute in our environment more toxicity than anybody else. Right? It's all those people on the bottom. All of us on the bottom who may have negative projections about what we are, what we're doing. But if you can transmute all that negative energy and learn how to do it for yourself and not have some kind of attachment to the three-dimensional reality to try and tell you who you are, how much you think you have or don't have. You don't have anything. Nobody ever did. Think about the tree. Does the tree own the land that it's on? Does the tree own both of these houses? Does the tree own the air that it breathes? Does the tree care about where the air comes from, that it needs to change the CO2 and the oxygen? It does it because it's a tree. It has no attachment. And if it did, it would be less of a tree, wouldn't it? Yeah. It gives its love freely without any expectation of return, but it always gets a return. See the lilies of the field and how they grow. Such a powerful statement. You can look at those in so many different ways. And I'm just talking about one aspect of it. Yeah. What is your truth, right? What do you believe? Do you believe that we're meant to grow closer and love one another and create together? Or do you believe that we're supposed to continue to just sell stuff? What are we selling, right? Now, it's one thing when you're trading things that you're building, but how much do we need to build? I was watching, and I think this is what I want to talk about. There's a video that Greg Braden put out that was 3 weeks ago. He talks about so any of you that are really healers, that are really concerned about healers or healing arts, he put out an excellent video 3 weeks ago. When I'm making this video, depending on when you watch this video, might be older than that, but about the Lost Gospel of Thomas. And how many things that were hidden in there. And a lot of people believe that Jesus actually wrote about that whole Lost Gospel of Thomas. How to heal the body. How to marry the thought and the emotion in the body. To feel the outcome of whatever it is you're trying to accomplish as if it's already done, right? That's basically what all the manifestation people teach, right? Is if whatever you want to feel the outcome of what it is you're trying to accomplish. Now, here's the thing. If you're trying to accomplish something that creates imbalance, to put your needs in front of somebody else's, that's when it becomes a little bit dark, right? And it's always going to pull the system into imbalance in some way, right? Like if you're focusing on the material, you say, well, there's nothing wrong with the material, and that's right. But if you're focusing on manifesting the material, you're not recognizing your own ability to create your own sense of being outside of any manifestation of the material reality. Right? That's what creates the attachment and the dysfunction, because now you cannot control your emotional state independent of what you may or may not have in front of you. That's why fasting and meditation is so important. Because, for one thing, if you can create your body from the inside out, regardless of anything external that you have, right? Food, water, whatever. We've already proven it. Joe Dispenza has proven that you can, and many other researchers have proven that you can create chemicals in the body through the proper meditation techniques and creating that feeling within yourself that you're already creating that within yourself. Marrying thought and emotion with a pure heart and lack of judgment, right? You can do it for your own body because, right, why wouldn't you love yourself first? And if you can do that, then you can do that for others. Without any attachment. Because if you're doing it just because if you're trying to manifest something to create some kind of attachment to the exterior, you're potentially creating an imbalance, if that makes sense, right? The objective is to do that for each other and to surrender to one another, to heal one another, and then create together, right? Because the external is just that. You want to enjoy it without it being attached to it. You don't need to manifest a giant boat, right? Where does that get us? It doesn't really get us anywhere. Because that pulls you into a emotional attachment to whether or not you feel good or bad as to whether or not you have that thing. It's about mastering the self, right? And you'll never fully master the self if you have some attachment to the exterior. Never. Unlock your unlimited potential. This basic truth is what I've been trying to teach. And I saw a really interesting video the other day of a guy who admitted that non-duality teachings a lot of times lead into narcissism and the feeling that it doesn't matter if I live or die, right? Because everything just doesn't matter when all of us want to love and be loved. But if you have an attachment to the way somebody is loving you, then you'll always be in an up and down emotional state with how you're interacting. Should be able to love free, give your love freely without necessarily getting something back. And if you don't get something back and they're judging your responses by what you're doing or not doing, then you kind of have to just pull yourself away. A lot of times you can't explain yourself. It's very difficult. I've loved everybody. I can honestly say that I've loved every single person I've ever met. And, feel free to reach out anytime. I reach out occasionally to all kinds of different people. And, intimate relationships are very difficult, right? Because if you can be with somebody in non-attachment and just love each other unconditionally and prioritize that, then it'll go in a really good place, right? Don't expect anything specific. Don't expect things are going to go in any specific direction or you're going to have a specific thing. For me personally, I think I just soon roam the desert with somebody for a while and see how things went, right? But, that can be very difficult with children. And so you kind of want to give children a home. So, I'm 50 years old. So I got a 17-year-old boy that he's going to turn 18 this year. I don't necessarily need to be here. I could be gone for a couple months and he'd be totally fine. I would definitely be talking to him while I was gone, but, he's 18 years old. Talk to an 18-year-old anywhere that needs their parents around. You're not going to find one. But, until they're 16, you really kind of got to be there. I would say 16 is a pretty good age to where you could potentially leave. 16 is an adult age in the Midwest. I don't know why the states are like this, but yeah, 16 is the age you can get married in the Midwest, but it's 18 here, and I don't know why that is. It's just religion, probably. Can't buy beer on Sundays in Kansas. I don't know why. I think that's pretty dumb. I mean, if I want my day of rest I should be able to go buy a beer, right? I don't know. Anyway, let's pull an oracle card, see what the oracle has to say. What does the Oracle have to say? We had the Golden Crown last time. I still had that card up. I need to be messier when I shuffle my cards because nothing ever wants to pop out. Here, that one's wanting to pop out. Transformation. We're always transforming, right? Always transforming from something old into something new. It looks like you're looking at somebody through the membrane of a leaf. I guess that's apropos, right? We're transforming carbon dioxide to oxygen, aren't we? Teaching people how to love one another and heal one another without placing judgment or debt. And that's why I believe, so many people believe in so many things, but the book of Revelation is a powerful book. Ultimately, the idea of money originates from judgment. Right? You have to judge and say that there must be a debt for what I do for you, or else I won't be able to support myself. So you're creating an attachment, a debt of attachment to the material realm that puts you in bondage. You don't realize it, but placing a debt on somebody puts you in bondage because now you've become a debtor slave to yourself. Don't ever put anybody else in debt. Yeah. Or else you'll be expected of things that, yeah. Love you guys. Have a beautiful day, and we'll catch you on the next one.